Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You know, you have, I don't even know how to start this one. It's so stupid, but it's stupid because they make it stupid. You know, Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2 were blown up, the pipelines, by somebody. Okay? And then those pipelines were under the economic jurisdiction of Denmark and Sweden. These are in the international waters, so they were blown up in the international waters, but somehow they are under surveillance of those two countries. Those two countries started their investigations on this incident, and this they say that they will conduct it, and they kind of concluded the initial investigation. That's how they call it. But they won't say who that person or who that entity was responsible for that. And you might think that those pipelines are owned by what? Russia, and together with Germany, and there's a company, private companies or companies that own them, the countries involved in their treaties and contracts. You might think that they should be involved in all this, at least as observers. Not involved. Oh, we're going to come with our investigators. Even though I would be for it, because more eyes, more people, it's more checks and balances. But here they say no. The Danish authorities, police, will investigate their little piece over there, and the Swedes going to investigate theirs. So that means you have to bribe only one person. Whereas you have an investigation of 20, you have to bribe 20 or scare them or threaten them or blackmail them, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying that's what happens. It doesn't have to happen because they are already on that side. You don't have to do it now. That's been done at a highest level a long time ago. You don't believe me? Just look at the U.S. for instance. It's an example, okay? Just an example. Just look at how Denmark intelligence services allowed U.S. NSA, I think it was, allowed to access the European connections to access their telephones and all that through Denmark and listen to Angela Merkel's phone conversations, tap their phones and other politicians in 2012 and 2019. Just check that out. So that was done through Denmark. So Denmark, with its investigation, was going to be very, very impartial. Now Sweden, on the other hand, remember, Sweden says that it's the country, it is neutral. It's not neutral anymore, if you know what I mean. It's just a pretense. Now, let's go here and see what's going on. This article comes from Reuters. Must be true. From October 6th, 2022. Kremlin says Russia not invited to Nord Stream investigation. Well, it doesn't matter if it comes from Russia, from Kremlin, from White House, or from Elysee Palace. Russia was informed via, or Buckingham Palace, or Down Street, whatever that is, 13 or something. Russia was informed via diplomatic channels that there were no plans to invite Moscow to join an investigation into Nord Stream gas leaks. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters on Thursday. Europe is investigating what caused 3 pipelines in the Nord Stream network to burst in an act of suspected sabotage near Swedish and Danish waters that Moscow quickly sought to pin on the West, suggesting the United States stood to gain, which is true. But the West was the first one to pin it on the Russians for what? They say, well, Putin did it. And they say, why would you shoot yourself in the foot? But anyway, that's a different story. This week, the Nord Stream operators said they were unable to inspect the damaged sections because of restrictions imposed by Danish and Swedish authorities, who are cordoning off the areas of the leaks that occurred in their exclusive economic zones. And I'm quoting, it's very coincidental that if the Russians did it, they were able to go in the Danish and Swedish economic zones and exclude themselves from the investigation. So if I would be Russia, wouldn't I think one step further and say, okay, what's going to happen? These guys are going to obviously investigate it. So shouldn't I blow up those things somewhere where there would be no barriers from those countries, because they would say, oh, that's in our economics area here, you can't be. So as Russia should have done it somewhere else. I don't know, a mile down the coast or 3 miles there, and then would be further out of these zones. And then there would be nobody else to tell them who's going to investigate that. Don't you think they might have thought one step further than the first one, like tards? I think they would have. But unless it was someone else who wanted this to happen in like that, and we have Denmark, friends, and Sweden, neutral, only they will inspect that. And being legally allowed to push everybody else from inspecting it. Don't you think that could have been premeditated like that? I would think it was 100% premeditated like that. Unless you're an idiot, and these guys are not idiots. They just blew up, they knew how to blow up some pipelines at what, 200 feet deep in the water, correct? In the Baltic Sea. So think about this. The Russians just were so idiots that they excluded themselves by blowing that in those people's economic areas, right? Exclusive. So leave me alone. That's another reason why these guys are just excluding themselves. And I'm quoting, "We were informed via diplomatic channels that as of now, there are no plans to ask the Russian side to join investigations," end quote, Peskov said, adding that Russia applied it was not possible. That Russia replied it was not possible to conduct an objective investigation without Moscow's participation. Well, why did you blow it in over there then? You should have blown it somewhere else where you can be in charge. See? And you would be the person who would say, hey, see? We're the only ones. We're going to investigate here. It's our territorial, economic, blah, blah, blah. On Tuesday, Swedish Defense Minister Peter Hultqvist said that the area of the Nord Stream gas leaks was a Swedish crime scene investigation, and Denmark runs a Danish crime scene. So see, idiots, Russians, you're so dumb, you couldn't think one step ahead. And I'm quoting, that's the basic matter. Basic, but the Russians did not think that way. They were just tards. We don't usually involve foreign powers in our criminal investigations. That's the basic approach, but the Russians are idiots. It is not up for discussion, he told the briefing. Maria Zakharova, spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry, said separately on Thursday that Moscow would insist on a comprehensive and open investigation that includes Russian officials and Gazprom. And I'm quoting, not to allow the owner to the investigating means there is something to hide from him, Zakharova said. Well, definitely that's suspicious. And as I said, just think about it. Why didn't Russia avoid this? Why would you let yourself in the hands of someone else to make decisions for you, like Denmark and Sweden, instead of, as I said, blow it somewhere else where these guys have no jurisdiction? Or maybe you want to blow it over there. Why? Because Denmark likes you? Or Sweden likes you? Yeah, right, okay. So I don't know, all these points again towards Zimbabwe, not towards Russia. Another one, anyway, I think for me is 99%, I am inclined 99.9% certain that it was not Russia. That's me. 1%, yeah, could have been. And I can tell you that it's 99.9% that it was Zimbabwe from across the Atlantic. Or it's a little proxies. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.